Go, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Your bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most. I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me. Niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
The story begins with a samurai living on his own with his wife and his child. It's hard to believe, and just a couple years prior, his wife and son almost died in a demon attack. Yoriichi was truly thankful to the demon slayer that arrived just in time to save them. But still, he couldn't return to the slayer corpse as too much had happened. He had let the infamous demon escape his grasp, and his very brother had also become an upper moon demon. The one thing that did bring him joy was his family, so he did his very best to protect them by never leaving their side from this point on. But after demons continued to attack their home, Yoriichi made a choice. He left his small dream house and went up into the snowy mountains where his only friend had lived for so long. The three arrived on the mountain days later, thanks to Yoriichi carrying both his wife and child so they wouldn't get tired or hurt. Sumiyoshi then smiles, greeting them outside, telling them to come in. It's been a while since the two had last seen each other, but Sumiyoshi was glad to see Yoriichi again. "My friend, I have a favor to ask you." Yoriichi bows his head while crying. "Let my bloodline serve your own, and in exchange, let me stay with you." Sumiyoshi didn't know what to say, but yes, I don't need your family to serve me. How about you show my daughter that amazing breathing style tonight? Yoriichi thanks his friend time and time again before getting up and deciding to show off his unique breathing style that night. But one thing I will say here before we continue is in my what ifs, especially for Demon Slayer, the effects of the flames, lightning, and water are real, just because I like to integrate the elements into the battles of the what ifs. But back to the story. Yoriichi shows it off, with his son mimicking the movements before falling on his face. Sumiyoshi was smiling the entire time, but the burning style, it was burned into his brain, etched throughout it. As throughout the years, Yoriichi continued to tell stories of his adventures as a demon slayer, as it ended up motivating his son, and his friend. Both had a fire like no other to continue his legacy. Yoriichi's son and Sumiyoshi's daughter will be the ancestors of Tanjiro and Nezuko. Some time does continue to pass, as the two families eventually combine into one, and for some reason, not even Muzan himself can find them as well. As in his final years before leaving this world, Yoriichi has Sumiyoshi's daughter help write him a book detailing Muzan's weakness to sun breathing and detailing each one of his breathing techniques and how they must be used. This will be his final gifts to mankind, as the other will be his family tree, as it would all lead to Tanjiro Tsukigikuni, who we see today as a child. He was playing around with his younger siblings when his father Tanjiro would state that today is the day that he would learn their family sun ritual, as it would be passed down to him. That day, as the sun began to set, Tanjiro joined his father for the ritual passed down from father to son of each generation, as it was only passed down to those who were blessed by the gods to see the world differently. This is when we see that Tanjiro and his father both have the see-through world and the Slayer mark. Pay attention, my son, as it's time for you to learn this sacred ritual passed down to us in order to save the world. Tanjiro leans down to his son, putting his hand on his shoulder. I want you to redeem your ancestors and become a demon slayer. Wait, what is that? Tanjiro first tells the great story of Yoriichi that was passed down in a book with the sun breathing techniques. As he finishes the story, the sun was almost gone. As Tanjiro stands back up, He completes all 13 forms with no strain on his body at all. He continuously repeats them without any trouble at all from breathing. Tanjiro was in complete shock, as his father was a frail and weak man, or he seemed so. Yet, he could create flames that burned hotter than the sun, or as if he was the sun. While watching, Tanjiro began copying the movements with his hands, and as his father finished swinging, he turns to see his son. But he was no longer sitting on that rock. "Tanjiro, where are you?" He twisted his head again and again, to then see his son right next to him, in the same stance, with the stick in his hand, completely exhausted, heavily sweating, and breathing heavily. He was almost passed out, causing Tanjiro to ask how long he's been trying to keep up, and the small 8-year-old boy says that he's been doing it since the first repeat of the formations. His father was not only astonished but proud. The happiness and pride quickly turned into fear as Tanjiro would pass out and he fell to the ground. While sleeping, the boy sees a man with long hair with red ends and the same markings and eyes as him. The two were in a bamboo-like forest with a trail where he had stopped. As Tanjiro looked at the man curiously, only to see another approaching with a woman by his side. This other man, he had felt completely different than the one Tanjiro had started with. His mere existence sent chills down the spine of the young boy, and for some reason every bone in his body told him to kill that man, but he couldn't figure out why. As Yoriichi took his first step into battle, the dream stopped and Tanjiro awoke. He sits up in a cold sweat, looking around. Where is the man with the marking? "Tanjiro, you and your father are the only two in the family who have that unique mark." Tanjiro looks around, wondering what he had just seen. But it felt so real. Was that even a dream? And who were those two? And why does he feel so different after seeing all of that? Tanjiro's siblings would surround him, asking if he was okay and if he needed anything. This is also when his father enters the room that night to discuss his training from this day forth to learn the breath of the sun. The next time we see Tanjiro is when he was at the age of 12, as his father had become bedridden, forcing Tanjiro to take the lead as the head of the family. He's a little different, being raised more as a demon slayer and a soldier. Tanjiro is prideful, still kind-hearted, and carries a strong sense of justice. He plans to make his family once again prosperous and bring their glory, to their name. Tanjiro himself was given a blade passed down from his ancestor. It wasn't his true blade, but the one given to him from a man in the swordsmith village. Tundra, at night, was bowing to his father, asking for permission to go take the exams. Tanjiro, for the first time in a while, sat in silence and looked to his son. He was no longer the small, timid boy that he had raised. Now, he was on the steps to become a man and a great warrior. Yes, my son. Now go make all of us proud, especially your ancestors. Tanjiro nodded and stood up, with his red checkered outfit. I shall not fail. He slides the door to close it, and looks at the almost full moon. I must hurry, or I'll be late. Tanjiro runs day and night, until he finds the wisteria trees upon a mountain. As he walks up the steps, seeing the beautiful scenery, it almost brought tears to his own eyes. This is where he hears two girls explain the final selection to the participants, who then ready themselves. Tanjiro paid attention to every word, and slowly made his way to the testing grounds. The see-through world allowed him to spot his first opponents who were trying to sneak up on him from behind the trees. Tanjiro turned his body, dodging the demon and looking at the creature, feeling pity for it. I will end your suffering here and now. Sun breathing. Sunflower lance. The flames surround the blade of Tanjiro, who sent it right through the neck of the demon, cutting his head off. It happened so fast that the demon couldn't even react. After this first true kill, Tanjiro feels an enormous sense of pity for the creatures, as they didn't ask to become this way. I vow to set as many of you free as I can from this place. Tanjiro dashes throughout the dark forest with a serious expression. A group of demons would try to ambush him, but he's so quick, he turns his blade to react, and he shouts out, "Sun breathing, solar, hollow, dragon dance." Tanjiro flips his blade, cutting through each one of the demons, having the dragon of flames completely devour their bodies as well, leaving nothing but ash. He closes his eyes, quickly praying for the demons' relief, and continues on. As he goes throughout this forest, he would eventually come across another demon, one that's been there for far too long. Tanjiro then runs into the hand demon, but he doesn't do so alone. Another swordsman with longer hair with blue ends was there as well. He runs in first, and the demon tries to strike down, but his hand is cut off and a mysterious mist would appear. With the demon being blinded by the fog, Tanjiro cuts off another one of his hands. This time, as he tries to regenerate it, he can't. What? That's impossible. What is this pain, and why is it not leaving my body? After that last attack from Tanjiro, he had landed on a tree branch, where he was standing above the other tester. "Hey there. My name is Tanjiro Tsukigikuni. I'm Morichiro Tokito. Well, it's nice to meet you, but I think we should end this fight fast." Morichiro says he agrees, as the two turn to one another before getting this odd sensation. As Morichiro would look at Tanjiro, he somehow sees the memories of his ancestor and sees Yoriichi standing near Tanjiro. Meanwhile, Tanjiro sees Michikatsu behind Morichiro. The two then both jump away, dodging the hand of the demon, which would separate them. "So, you two plan to team up to battle me. It doesn't matter. I'll squash both of you like flies and consume your flesh. Not in a million years." The mist becomes more visible, as the only thing that can be seen is the light of the incoming flames. In just a second, the hand demon is taken out by the breathing techniques of the two boys. As it begins fading away, Tanjiro thanked Morichiro for the help, but the boy stated that it was no problem at all. But this was weird for him, as Morichiro didn't even know that he was being so friendly with Tanjiro, as he's never met him a day in his life. And who was that strange man who he saw behind him? He turns to ask Tanjiro himself, but he was already gone. Oh well, it's not like I have to take these exams serious anyway. He slowly walks off in a different direction, as we now see Tanjiro saving some of the other testers from the demons. Morning comes faster than expected, but what was a shock to the two Ubuyashiki children was the fact that only 2 participants had passed this selection. Both turned to each other, realizing who the other was. This caused Tanjiro to smile before stating he failed, as he let so many die inside that place. The Ubuyashiki children would assure him that it would be fine, as there's still many more lives to save, so he has to move past and carry the wills of the fallen with him. The sun ores are then presented to them, but Tanjiro has a different request. Can the sun ore and my father's current blade be combined together? They would look at it to see that it was already crafted pretty well, and since the two slayers were the only ones to pass, they do the request. Tanjiro then travels home, waiting for the blade to arrive, alongside his crow, as for some reason, after the exams, his crow didn't come to him like it did for Morichiro. Upon returning home, his family then congratulates him for his success, especially his father, who turns, being near him in his final days. Weeks do pass. On what seems like his father's last day, the blade arrives from the blacksmith. He seemed to be more like an older man from a generation before, but he presents the blade to them, and it turns black once unsheathed. Tanjiro looks at it smiling, and then to his father. "Show me. Just one more time, Tanjiro." His mother and siblings would help their father back outside, where Tanjiro steps out in front of them, and he takes in a deep breath, knowing his father could die at any minute, being able to see his internal organs with a see-through world. He hated the fact so much that he couldn't do anything. Why was life so cruel? And why did things never last forever? This is where the smile of his father caught his eye, and he went into a flashback remembering a saying. As many winters ago, we see Tanjiro and Tanjiro, who was telling him that flowers, like many things, are considered beautiful because they cannot last forever, so they must be cherished while they are around. As if they lasted forever, they would be forgotten. This core memory snaps Tanjiro back into focus as he promises to give his father a proper send-off, one fitting of a great man like him. He begins performing all 13 forms of the breathing style, with his father watching on in amazement. It's as beautiful as when his mother had showed it to him. Such a wonderful sight. Tanjiro turns to his family, seeing their enjoyment as well, and closes his eyes while smiling. Tanjiro, I leave them all in your care. He passes away into the afterlife, in this moment, with Tanjiro noticing, using the see-through world. However, he doesn't stop. He continuously repeats all the forms in rapid succession until night falls. As when he does stop, Tanjiro has tears in his eyes, wishing it didn't have to be this way. But before they could even bury his father, his bird would finally appear. Yet, it wasn't a crow at all. An eagle would fly over the head of the family, stating that a dock near them had a demon who had appeared. Tanjiro nodded and looked to his father, bowing to him. Thank you for everything. But now, I must go. I will see to your grave after. His mother would stop him, handing him the earrings, as he would put them on for the first time. His mother claimed that he looked just like his father did when the two of them met. She wished her son luck as he traveled to the docks to confront this great evil. He arrives, sensing the demon, but also hearing the screams of the villagers. He's led by his eagle to the docks, where he jumps in the way to save a woman. Tanjiro uses his new black blade to block the water claw. You're okay. Get back to the others. Tanjiro then stands, confronting the demon, asking why he would attack this place. But the demon claimed that this was just for fun, as Tanjiro rushed in, striking fear into the demon, who evades the attack and sinks into the water below. Tanjiro looks around, wondering where the demon had went, but doesn't know at all. He then hears the screams of two kids on a small boat out on the lake. The woman from before then screams that that's her children. Don't worry, I'll save them. Tanjiro quickly takes one of the boats and speeds that way as fast as he can. As he gets to a visual distance, he can see that very same demon heading towards the boat as well. Tanjiro speeds up the motion of his rows, getting closer and closer, and he jumps off his boat the same time that the demon would jump out of the water. But another had appeared, grabbing the blade, or the hilt of it, and throwing Tanjiro into the water as he had such a strong grip on it. The first original demon would tell the kids to sit tight, as it sunk back into the water as well. Tanjiro's body for some reason began to feel heavy, as it continued to sink lower and lower into the bottom of the lake. His body reacted on instinct, moving with an agility that was almost inhuman-like, as he spun, dodged, and parried the attacks of the two demons while still underwater. His sword began to take the full force of the attacks alongside his body. The air also seemed to be leaving his lungs faster than he wanted it to. Damn it, this is no good. I need to get back up to the surface for at least just a moment to regain some air. He looks up, seeing the moonlight diminish from his sight. As Tanjiro will then look to see the second demon was placed in some sort of bubble connected to the surface, meaning that one couldn't breathe underwater. The water demon then appears once again, sending slashes towards Tanjiro, but he cut through them, and noticed that his movements felt even slower than the beginning of this fight. So, what was this? The second demon then appeared, trying to finish this battle, but the demons themselves were fast. However, Tanjiro was faster. He moved with fluid grace that masked his strength and his movements were precise and deadly. The demons tried to circle around him, but Tanjiro was too quick, always one step ahead of them. He grabbed the demon, who was using the air bubble from before, and began choking him with one of his arms, using the other to block the attacks from the original demon. The water demon was then forced to send both of them to the surface, where the battle would change, as the water would be frozen to hold them, as they could stand on it. Now, the real battle has begun. No words were exchanged, as Tanjiro charged towards the demons, his sword glowing with an intense heat. The demons embraced themselves for impact, and the first demon, who could manipulate the weight of itself and others to make itself lighter or heavier, then dodged the incoming attack. But Tanjiro ducked under the water shuriken before swinging his blade, cutting the demon's arm off. This is where both of them see a glimpse of Yoriichi and Tanjiro, but they don't even know who this is, and they have never met that man before. Tanjiro turns his head once again, looking towards the demons. I need to end this now. The water demon controls the water in the lake, making waves crash upon Tundra. But even that isn't good enough. I'm not done yet. Sun breathing. Raging sun. The heat from the slashes completely evaporates the water in front of him as he cuts right through both of the demons, and Tanjiro would end this battle, but almost begins falling into the water, and as he does, his hands are grabbed by the two children who were nearby on their boat, who helped them into their small boat. Thank you for saving us. No, thank you two. I would have got all wet again. It's my job to do so. Now, let's get you two back home. They return to the destroyed dock, as the rest of the villagers would regroup, thanking Tanjiro for his work. This will be his first successful job as a demon slayer, with many more missions to come. Tanjiro is given another mission very quickly, to go assist another demon slayer who's already headed into a town. It's overrun by demons and ruled by them. Many slayers have been sent there, but none have come back or even reported the mission. A Hashira was supposed to be sent that way, but they're all currently busy with their own mission. Tanjiro is then led by his eagle for about a week of travel until he reaches the town, seeing another slayer, Muichiro Tokiso, who was also tasked with this mission to save the hostages and defeat the group of demons that have taken over this small town. Tanjiro looks to his eagle that lands on a branch, asking it some questions. How many demons are inside currently? The town is completely taken over by a group of 25 lower demons who work together to eliminate anyone we send there. No, that can't be right. Go ask for backup for more slayers. But this doesn't make sense at all. There's no way that many demons would want to work together unless they're working directly under an even stronger demon. Tanjiro runs around the surrounding area until he finds Tokito, who had been scouting as well. Oh, it's you again. Why are you here? I was told this mission required my abilities as well. Where are the other slayers? Tokito gets up, leading Tundra to their dead, mutilated bodies on the ground. We must avenge them and make sure their lives have meaning. Muichiro didn't know what he was talking about until behind Tanjiro, he saw the spirits of many fallen demon slayers from this selection or this point. With their wills and spirits, they shall live through me on the battlefield today. Who are you truly? Tanjiro didn't understand this question, as Muichiro sat and thought, and Tanjiro then stated that they needed to make their move now. With Tanjiro's sun breathing and Muichiro's mist breathing, it'll be easier for them to work together and defeat the demons and save the hostages. The two distant cousins must combine their strengths and fight as a team to overcome the odds. They begin to walk straight towards the first gate of the village that was blocked off by two guards. Each one of the demons had different abilities, with the first one using its rock-like abilities to seal the gate, before the second one using its vines to then grab the two. Muichiro slashes through them without even looking, and Tanjiro then states how once they enter, they'll have to kill every demon. I know, so make sure you don't slow me down. Tanjiro nods as the two would dash at the pair of demons. Vines come from the ground and grab Tokito, throwing him into Tanjiro, but the sun-breathing demon slayer is a quick thinker. grabbing his ally before spinning him and tossing him right back, heading towards the Vine Demon. The Rock Demon uses boulders to almost smash Tokito, but he uses a scattering mist slash to blow away the rods. From behind the demon, Tundra slashes towards the door, but is stopped by vines appearing. I'll have to be quicker. Well, we'll only get one chance to kill them off, so I hope you're ready. Muichiro and Tanjiro would switch opponents mid-battle, confusing the demons, which leaves an opening for both of them to kill them off with just a single swing. This is when the two see a couple more demon slayers arriving as well. Muichiro, what do you think? I'll find the demon responsible and take him down. You lead the rescue unit. Tanjiro nods and turns back to the small group. I can't promise anything here, but we will not fail. So follow me and help me save the lives of the people inside. Flames appear around the blade of Tanjiro as he rushes into the village with the demon slayers yelling behind him, riled up from his small speech and declaration. They fight throughout the town, encountering demons one by one. Each demon is unique and possesses a challenge for Tanjiro and Muichiro to overcome from their different sides of the town. This battle goes on for the entire night, but is far from over, as finally, they reach the center of the town, where they could find the leader of the demon group. It would be Lower Moon 2, Rokuru. This shocks them, as Tanjiro looks towards him and tells the other demon slayers to move out of the way quickly. Before Tanjiro could finish his statement, the ground then attacked him. His hand and his leg were grabbed, but he cut them off. Not his own, but the ground that was grabbing him. Tanjiro then jumps into the air, looking towards the Lower Moon to see that he was using some sort of potter's wheel to create objects that would attack them. He flips in the air, while using his breathing techniques to cut through the attacks. This is when the Lower 2 demon creates more demons that would attack the group and the civilians in the surrounding area. Tanjiro rushes in fast as he could protect them, but he also needed to defend himself. This is bad. He can create demons just that fast? Before he even realized it, he was surrounded. Tanjiro then tightened the grip on his own blade, as he calmly stated, "Sun breathing, clear blue sky." The flames then cut through around all the demons that surrounded him as he turns to Rokuru. The lower demon would state that he sees something. He sees the memories of Lord Muzan and Yoriichi, which strikes fear into his soul. What is this? No. Who is that brat? The Lower Moon demon gets a chill up his own spine and barely dodges the attack of Muichiro Tokito. Close. These brats aren't playing around. So how about we even the playing field? Clay creations of Tanjiro and Muichiro are made, as this will be a small army of them. The demon slayers then behind the two would lose all hope. But these two distant cousins aren't done just yet. Tokito and Tanjiro's demon slayer marks would then truly appear, as this would be different for Tokito, as he sees something completely different. The see-through world, being around Tanjiro, would allow it to manifest within his soul. They also then focus their breathing, tapping into total concentration. Simultaneously, they respectively shout their breathing techniques, with Tanjiro using the 13th form and Muichiro utilizing the second form of an 8-layered mist. They run through each of the clones and appear right before the Lower Moon. Tanjiro slices off his torso, with Tokito getting the neck. The night then halts for a moment, with the sun beginning to rise in the distance. The people return cheering for their heroes, but Tanjiro himself was exhausted, and so was Muichiro. Even with total concentration, their underdeveloped bodies could only do so much at this point. Muichiro would feel this strain, but he also notices that something's different. He sees the world different but doesn't mention it at all, as he assumes this is how Tanjiro sees it as well. The two would smile at each other, as this would be a great victory for the Demon Slayer Corps. However, far away from this land, in another well, thriving city, which is Tokyo. We see a house. As we slowly zoom in to see Muzan in his adult male form, slamming his hand into the wall after that battle, knowing that an old enemy is back and that he needs to kill him off as soon as possible. As this is where we'll leave off the story for now.